Hello YouTube. In today's video we're going to answer a question, that is, how close are Iran, Syria and Hezbollah? Now, to answer this question appropriately, let us categorize these three elements in appropriate fashion. Syria and Iran are two sovereign nation states, while Hezbollah is a Lebanon-based political party as well as a militant outfit headed by Hassan Nasrallah. Hezbollah's militant wing is called Jihad Council. Now, we must keep in mind that Syria, Iran and Hezbollah are staunch allies. Now, coming to Iran is the biggest support to Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad. A surface-level reading shows that Iran's support to Syria is due to the fact that Assad belongs to a Shia Alawite sect. However, Alawites and Twelvers of Iran are so different that it is difficult to assume that Iranian Shias will ever have any stake in Alawite Shiism. Iran's support to Assad is purely based on geostrategic rationale, that is, countering Saudi Arabia's supremacy in the region. To do that, Assad's persistence is vital no matter what happens. That is exactly what Iran's doing. How Iran is doing that? Let's look into that. Here comes Hezbollah into the act. Hezbollah is Iran's brainchild that was formed with Iran's blunt funding and training back in 1985. In 1982, when Israel invaded Lebanon and captured Southern Strip, Palestine Liberation Organization, also supported by Iran, had to vacate these areas and suffered major setbacks. Israel, on the other hand, aided the South Lebanon army both financially and militarily to control South Lebanon. As a counterattack, Iran launched Hezbollah, which engaged South Lebanon army in a conflict for 15 years in Lebanon. It was basically a proxy war between Israel and Iran. In 2006, Israel attacked Hezbollah targets in Lebanon and also targeted Lebanese civilian infrastructure, to which Hezbollah responded befittingly. The 2006 Israeli Defense Forces and Hezbollah confrontation lasted for 34 days, during which both sides endured several serious losses in Lebanon, northern Israel and Golan Heights. Iran again backed Hezbollah with full financial and military support. Now let's come back to Iran's alliance with Syria. We can see that Hezbollah was the force with which Iran could provide Assad's clumsy regime a powerful support, and it did. Hezbollah stood against ISIS and Syrian opposition blatantly. Till now, Hezbollah is serving Iran and providing Assad a massive paramilitary support against Syrian opposition. We can see that Iran, Syria and Hezbollah are united against Saudi Arabia, Israel and USA. As mentioned earlier, Iran needs to meet its own geostrategic objectives, but for that, it needed Hezbollah to transform itself from being a resistance against Israel to a Shia resistance against Sunni Arabs. Iran-backed Hezbollah is also providing support to Iran's Nur al-Maliki in Iraqi civil war.